Welcome back, everybody. Today we're going to be showing you how to clean and lubricate the Ruger LCP pistol that we have here. Very simple pistol, should be a pretty quick video, but I'm going to focus on it as if this is your first gun and you're really not experienced with firearms, and just kind of go over it at what would be called the Barney style detail. So that's pretty much it. Enough yapping from me. Let's get into the cleaning. Before getting into the actual cleaning and lubrication, I'm going to go over what we're going to be using. It's pretty simple stuff here. We have some break-free CLP that is in both of these bottles here. CLP is a cleaner, lubricant, and protectant, so it's sort of a do-all type of product. It works well. There's tons of good cleaners and lubricants out there. If you guys want different ones, that's fine. I'll stick a link for this down below. Same for the bottle here, these little needle bottles. They're very helpful. And people are always asking me where I got them. This spray bottle here is just repurposed from one of my wife's old body spray bottles. And we have a rod here. This is a Glock one, but I believe one comes with the Ruger LCP that's very similar. We're also going to be using these picks here. These are tipped-in polymer picks, and what's nice about these picks is, number one, they're inexpensive, but because they're polymer, they're not going to scratch up your gun's finish, which some folks are really concerned with. And then just a small screwdriver, we're going to use that as well, and then some patches of cut-up t-shirt. If you guys want to use specific 380 caliber patches, you're more than welcome to do so. They work the same. So first thing we're going to do is drop our magazine like we have here. At this point, we're going to lock the slide to the rear, make sure it's unloaded by pressing up here on our slide lock, the back of the pistol. If I can actually do it. There we go. And as you guys can see there are no rounds in the chamber, and also no rounds there in the magazine because there isn't one. Now at this point, we're just going to pop this little pin out, and if you push the slide back a touch to take the tension off it, I do find that it's a little bit easier, and that's what the small screwdriver there is for. Take our pin out like so. We're going to set that off to the side. Now our slide's just going to come right off. At this point, we can take our recoil spring and guide rod out. You can see that it's a double spring, so just make note of that. You can take both of those out should we choose to do so, and take our barrel out. And that's it. Your gun is essentially field stripped. That's all we're going to do for the cleaning portion of this, and let's move on to that. With the slide facing down, I just put a little spray there of CLP on the back end of it. Some of it, of course, is going to get on the front end as well. Use a toothbrush there just to work everything around. What we're doing here is loosening up the carbon buildup that's on there. One thing about the CLP is it does break down carbon, and we're also going to work up here on the breech face again with the slide oriented down, just to make sure that we don't get a bunch of oil there in the firing pin chamber, which in theory and sometimes in real life can cause issues. So we're going to set that aside. Do the same here on the barrel. Just spray it and work everything loose, all that carbon that's built up in there. Making a special note there to get down in those lugs. Now I'm going to take a piece of cloth here. Let me find a small one. That should do just fine. We're going to spray that with some CLP and take the little rod here, if we can do it without knocking everything over. And we're just going to push that through the barrel. Now, one of the beauties of CLP, like I said, is that it does break down carbon. So we're just going to push it through there and let that barrel sit, let that carbon break down. Now I'm just going to take that same patch. If we want to use a new one, that's totally fine. And just wipe down the guide rod there. That one there should be pretty clean. Yep, it's not too bad. And then we're just going to put our springs back on there. If you want to wipe down the springs as they go on, that's probably not a bad idea either. And then the outer spring, we're going to set that off to the side. Now, here in the mechanism, we're going to put a little CLP there on the rails, just like so. And the same thing, just use the brush there to loosen everything up. And now we're just going to wipe all that up. Now with a clean patch or a clean piece of t-shirt, we're just going to get into all those nicks and crannies with that tipped-in polymer pick. You want to pay special attention there in the slide rails. As you guys can see, there's definitely some carbon in there. And again, with the breech face here, we're going to tip the slide downward and take our pick. And what we want to do here is make sure that we get on this extractor face. Let me let my camera autofocus here real quick. Yeah, so we want this extractor face right there. We want to get up underneath there with the pick and make sure we get all the carbon out of there, just to make sure that the extractor gets a good grab on the brass as we fire it going forward, because of course that's essential to function. We're also going to get back in here behind the firing pin, get anything that we can. But throughout the cleaning, you don't want to actually force anything. So if the pick doesn't really want to go in, then just leave it. It really doesn't need to go in that far. There's no need to get into every little crack, because sometimes there's little springs down in there, particularly on the frame that we'll show you here in a second, that you really just don't want to mess with. So again, you can use the same patch or a new one depending on your preference. And when I say that, what I mean is everyone's definition of clean is a little bit different. This video here, of course, for time's sake, we're going to just kind of do it relatively quickly. If you want to keep going until everything is completely clean and comes out white and clean, you're more than welcome to do so. With the LCP and other small guns that tend to be pocket carried, I definitely recommend paying special attention here behind the hammer. A lot of times lint and stuff like that likes to build up in there, so just make sure you get that out. Again, we're going to pay special attention here to the rails, make sure that we clean those as well, and then just down here into the grooves of the frame. With that done, I want to take a dry patch and run it down into the magazine well and make sure we get all of that out. You don't want any excess oil or anything like that in your mag well. It's simply not needed for anything down there, and really can't do anything beneficial. It's not a huge deal if there's some down there, but there's really no need. So just take a patch there and try to get any kind of oil out of there that you can. With the barrel, we're just going to wipe the excess CLP off now that it's been sitting there for a minute, kind of breaking everything down. And again, we want to pay special attention there in the lugs. Make sure that we get in there with the pick, kind of bring it through there. Same thing here on the feed ramp. Make sure that we get any kind of carbon buildup off there. And now we're just going to run the patch through with the rod, like so. And again, this is one of those things that's definitely personal preference. If you guys want to keep running it through until it's spotless, feel free to do so. However, I just like to personally look down in there. I'm not sure if the camera will pick it up, but you really just want to look down in there and make sure the rifling looks clean. Not a lot of lead buildup or anything like that if you guys are out there shooting lead bullets or reloads. And really that's it in terms of the cleaning process. For lubrication, you can generally see wear spots on your pistol and kind of see where you need to add a little bit of lubrication. Again, just some break-free CLP that we're using, so same stuff we use to clean it is what we're going to use here to lubricate it. So I'm going to put a little bit here on the barrel and just kind of work it around there with my finger, make sure it gets all the way around. And also on the hood here of the barrel, because you guys can see that wear. Now I'm also going to put a drop down here in these lugs, simply because with a Browning style action like we have here on this pistol, that is just a wear point. So we're going to set that off to the side and also put a drop here inside the slide, and we're going to put our barrel back in, and we're going to put our recoil spring wherever the heck it went and guide rod back in like so, and make sure that this little flat point there lines up there in the flat point of the barrel. And it should stay in place once you set it like that. Now at this point, you can either take your needle bottle and lubricate inside the slides here, the rails rather on the slide, or you can do it here on the frame. I find it easier on this pistol to do on the frame, but I also want to note that I'm going to put a drop right there on the back side, just because you can see that wear happening. So like I said, if you see some wear, a little bit of drop of CLP ain't going to hurt. And we're going to put our CLP here on the rails, just a slight coat all the way down. And really that's it, guys. Now at this point, we're going to reassemble it. Like so. Take our pin, which I suppose we should probably wipe off since we have it off, our takedown pin, and again we're just going to push back a little bit there on the slide and push down on it, push across, do a quick functions check, run the slide a couple times, and point in a safe direction, pull the trigger, make sure it works, hold the trigger to the rear, cycle the slide, make sure it resets, and it does. And at this point, really, we're good to go. The pistol is clean and lubricated. You're ready to put it back in your carry rotation, safe, or take it out to the range for the next time you want to fire it. If you guys have any questions about what we did in this video, anything we used, anything like that, you can always post down below in the comments section. You can also post over at my Facebook page at the bottom of your screen here. But as always, guys, thanks for subscribing. If you guys just found this video through a Google search and you like what you see here, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button. And I'll see all of you in the next video.